All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh, good.
yeah.
Okay.
Might be the first recorded meeting in the last.
I did my personnel appointments meeting last night and shut down that little speaker thing over there, the little phone. We could not figure out how to turn that thing on. We eventually left it in a drawer. We talked to John, we talked to all the, we talked to John, we talked to the person, you know, that girl that does the, nobody,
Unplug it.
there's no unplug, it's like self-charge, it's a, we finally, there's no batteries, it's, we just
Run it down.
put it in a drawer, close the drawer, and I left it. It just kept speaking through everywhere, like.
It's worse than big brother.
Well, now you know what to do the next time this happens.
We're gonna do this again. We have no idea.
This we won't remember 3 months from now. All right, so we'll call the meeting. for 8. Jump to citizens petitions, comments and concerns.
Yeah, better have the citizens.
None. Okay. Approval of minutes.
Will be accepted as second.
Make you change.
What?
Oh, the minutes.
No,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
minutes. Correspondence.
So we gotta vote on.
Everybody's, okay, no, any discussion?
Oh, okay.
No. No. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
I,
Just good.
I know, but I mean, he was saying, nobody objected, he said it was fine.
Guys running the show. All right.
Okay.
Correspondence communications. Ports. Avalonia.
okay, so, couple of things. I did talk with, Dennis, Maine about if there was something he'd like to, have me bring up at the meeting, and, just basically he was saying that, of course, Avalonia wants to work with, Groton in any way, you know, on the trail system. And, we're right now looking to perhaps, acquire another, 223 acres of land that I think, and I don't want to, I think it's tied in with the tri-town. But that's, we're going to be, trying to buy that, get a hold of that with one of the, OSWA, or I don't know if you pronounce it, the, Open Space Watershed Acquisition Grant. So, that could be something, you know, really positive for Groton. And then on just the, as far as, the Groton Avalonia, properties, over the last couple of months, we've been doing our boundary walks. We have encountered a couple of, issues of encroachment that have required, action beyond, just keeping in mind for the next year. So, we've got, had to send out a couple of letters, and, there's one issue that's a little more serious that we're, dealing with right now. And, another one of our properties, we are having an issue with, a neighbor who has cut, a lot of our vegetation. I don't know if any of this is going on, any of the other preserves in Groton. Anything some of that, I'd be interested to hear. People are having similar issues. On our, Leo Antonino, I don't know if you've any are familiar with that, but there's a cul-de-sac to get to the main entrance. And, a few weeks ago, a motorcyclist lost control down at the end and took out our property sign. So we're still waiting to hear from the police as far as.
How was
What?
the notice?
Oh, it's the motorcyclist.
Oh, well, I guess he was fine. The amazing thing is a good citizen happened to be out taking a walk and took a photograph and videotaped the perpetrator and the motorcycle. And the police were called. And so one of our Avalonia, and a lot of you know him, Charlie Booz, he went down to check it out, and our secretary went to talk with the police. So that's still under investigation. But we've had a lot of problems at that cul-de-sac with all kinds of dumping of different kinds. And we don't seem to be able to, even though we pick up after we call the police, it's an ongoing problem. And then again, we're, continuing to address the Japanese knotweed infestation on 2 of our properties. So that's coming along pretty well. On a positive note, on bin loss preserve, I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's between High Street, is the bin loss road that's between High Street and River Road in Mystic. And some of you are probably aware that there is discussion going on about working on the culverts that are up in High Street and down at River Road, to take these 2 culverts at each end and make them into one larger one to facilitate the flow of the water, with the hopes of maybe bringing back some fish and other organisms. So that's kind of exciting. That will be something that's done with Save the Sound. But we completely support that in Avalonia. Then we had a successful trail day, and we ended up having that also at Leo Antonino. Part of why we did that is because there's been a lot of restoration work done there. And so we had after we had the trail walk, there was a discussion about how the effort that's been put into the restoration. And that resulted in getting an email from the Windsor Boy Scout troop that wants to come down in the fall. And they want to take the hike and the trail, and then they want to learn more about the restoration project as well. And then we've been involved in a couple of events with Groton. Earth Day, we had a booth at the library. And then the more recent Groton Environment, what is it? Outdoor play event that was a couple of weeks ago. We had a table there as well. And basically things are going along very smoothly. And we're just continuing to do our annual boundary walks. We're more than halfway done for the year. And that's about it.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Okay, you're welcome.
Haven't already heard. We got the grants, the recreational trails grants for the COP property project. So that's additional trails, accessibility improvements. Thing I think we're very excited about is this really innovative new technological, like, software and hardware to help visually impaired people on the trails. So we met with the graphic designer, talk about a logo for visually impaired trails. So it's $143,000. We'll also be purchasing a trail wheelchair, which is exciting. That could help people use, and smoothing the trails out, so in terms of signage.
It's just like an all-wheel drive wheelchair or something.
Yeah, it's like got mountain bike tires, and it has these. Well, there's several different
Yeah,
types.
it's different.
Just electrified or
What's
No.
that?
no?
Oh, no. It's still
They'll push.
manual power, but it's designed to be able to use on trails. You know, for people, be able to borrow it, rent it on the.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Check it out.
So they call Parks and Rec or
Yes,
reserve it.
right.
So what would we call it?
Trail wheelchair.
Many of them use a coffee grinder.
Right,
Oh, and-
yeah, you
and-
see, the
and-
ones in races are, yeah. But this one, well, the one that we're looking at has like handles that. Yeah, you push one forward, yeah, exactly. So there's a couple of different versions, and we've just got to figure out which is gonna be the most suitable. And the software, we would be actually the first town in the state to have this. And so,
Maybe beta testing it.
yeah, we actually, yeah, so we've been working with the Southeast Connecticut Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired. We actually had them come out with Tony Stanley, who's one of our programmers, and they set this trail up on the Quaintance Park, or the walking path, and had a couple of folks that were visually impaired use the software and provide feedback to the developers. And that's the software that we're going to use. But we want to set it up so that appropriate trails are set up so that they can go out to the Cott property and maybe walk the yellow trail. Because for the most part, that's pretty accessible. And some of the grant money that we got is going to do the section from, well, by the parking lot where it ends now, all the way past the dog park, connect to the bridge that was done, I think like 8 years ago. And it's actually going to continue, the work that we included in the scope is going to continue further down. So our eventual goal is to make that yellow loop that goes, it kind of cuts back and goes past the foundation. Make that fully accessible with a stone dust path. That's our long-term goal.
When do you think the wheelchair will be?
We haven't
Yeah,
gotten the grant approved yet through the town. and-
well, yeah, so we've got a meeting with the state on the 27th. Then we have to go to the council. And then I think we have to go to RTM also.
Yeah.
So it'll be 2 or 3 years because. So slow.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of issues.
First, we have to speed up the town council.
Yeah, I guess. I'm for it. So Paul, all right, I just want to, it's just a nice thing to announce, sort of announce that this is coming,
Yeah.
so I'll just.
Yeah.
Just some smaller improvements that part two, we are planning to put some fencing up between the large dogs and the small dogs and make this water area, so. That should be occurring this summer.
Yeah, that's not part of the grant.
No, that's not part of the grant.
That's
just separate.
separate, yeah, that we've been working.
Cool, that's great. That's good stuff.
Crosstown Trail.
Oh, yeah, who's responsible for that?
He's trying
You
to,
are, Tom. That's why I'm looking right at you.
No, I'm on the Tri-Town Trail.
but you were instrumental in getting it approved.
Well, this is, are we talking the Crosstown Trail or the Crosstown Greenway? Because that's the question.
Greenway.
Before the
Trail.
meeting here, we took a look at, where do I get, if I just want. I want to walk it. I want to walk the Crosstown Trail. What is the Crosstown Trail? And if I go to the guide to hiking for Groton here, it's not listed. Okay.
Oh, it should be, because
It's
it goes
not.
from Bluff Point.
Right, it goes from Bluff Point to Townsend was the original part that GOSA advocated through this
Right.
process here.
Yeah,
And it's not on the list here as far as for the Groton trails. And also, how are we splitting this from the Greenway, which then subsumed this trail?
Well, and weren't you going to get signage and mapping and an RFP for someone to do that?
yes. Although at the last meeting, in the minutes that were approved, Tom was gonna get the exact number of signs and the location.
You,
At the
you
meeting-
know, you raised your
minutes-
hand.
Minutes are just approved.
Well, no, I inquired about the signage project.
Well, then you own it.
The recommend number of signs needed along designated Greenway trails. Now, that's what I'm asking. Are we talking about the original trail, or is this encompassing the entire
Well, we could,
Greenway?
when this agenda was first set up years ago,
Right.
it wasn't a crosstown greenway.
Anyway, right.
So this is leftover from 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So when we first got here, we had like a very first meeting. So I am happy to move this to become the crosstown greenway.
Okay.
And then, Tom, this would be your,
Right, and what we've been doing as far as, one of the things is I don't have the exact counts and stuff. I have done some preliminary stuff. I'm not ready to, I have the action item, but I don't have a date attached to it. Notice. But I have been working on, with the Tri-Town Trail stuff and what we can do there. We do have the Tri-Town Trail greenway signage now. We actually we spent about half of our money already for the Tri-Town Trail for the $4,500 that we received ARPA dollars. And about half is spent in this place. And it's all focused on the greenway, which ties, with the crosstown. We have a section that along the Connecticut Bridge Parkway there that's joint. So we've got our greenways, our Groton Trail logo stuff, and then it has Greenway, the Connecticut Greenway all on one sign now. And we posted those at Bluff Point and then also up in Lunch and up in Ledger. So now we have pricing for that type of signage and stuff in regard to how much it would cost and typical places where to put that. So now I've completed the Tri-Town portion, so now I'll expand that to the crosstown. So,
okay.
That's like kind of as a multi-step process here.
Gotcha.
But one of the things that so then what we should then probably be doing is working the map. People ask me about what can I get a map of the crosstown greenway. I always go back to the ones that were generated by NOAA for the application.
Yeah.
So I have those readily available, and I email those to whoever wants those. We probably need to work with nobody get it updated. Now, I don't know who handles this section. It's in the GIS section of the town, so I guess NOAA would be the proper person to work with. So I'll take an action also to work with NOAA to get the map and incorporate it into the trails section. Okay.
And what about the signage and all of that? I've been kind of holding off on the GOSA part of the crosstown, on putting more blazes on or refreshing them until I find out if we're going to have new ones. For the
Well, I think
crosstown.
what Tom's talking about.
Well, the signage that we've been using on the Tri-Town Greenway has been principally at Trailhead. We have, we have our normal trail stuff up in Ledger, it's all blue, it's orange blazes. Okay, up in there.
But you only have one color in here, not.
Yeah, well, no, we have multiple colors.
Oh,
We have
okay.
we have spurs.
Okay.
But the primary, the Tri-Town Trail, the main route is the orange blaze. We have plenty of those blazes. And we're now allowed to put anything down on the state property. Okay.
But the question is should the rest of us on Crosstown use, my question is, what color should we use before we refresh blazes?
For the blazes along the trail?
Yeah, along the Crosstown,
On the coastal property.
the Gosa property and Avalonia and maybe
Currently, it's red, blue through more woodland.
It's red, blue.
Yep, red, blue.
It's
Down-
that-
A splash of each,
Yes.
On like the same.
On the same-
blades.
Yeah.
on the same tree.
the same.
So they just put them above each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kinda
Yeah,
confused.
so, but it might be nice to have a
Unify
distinctive through trail.
Right, that's what we haven't talked about that, because when 2 years ago, we talked about, if you wanted to hold off and get the ARPA grant and then take a look at how do we want to brand this thing and how do we want to label it? And the jump thing is,
Right.
when's that gonna happen? Who's got the responsibility for that?
Right.
Well, and before we go refreshing our trail markers, we might want to hold off until we see what
Do we want,
that trail is gonna have.
Yeah.
And then we can adjust our other colors.
Well,
I'm
do you
hesitating.
think we can reach a consensus among 3 different trail routes.
Well, if
That's
you
what the
like,
purpose of
if
this
we don't have any,
organization is.
that's what I was talking,
Yeah.
yeah.
But are you branding your trails based on, this is the crosstown trail, so it's orange, or are you saying this is a through?
Well, no,
trail?
I'm saying
This is
the
a-
crosstown trail is a separate greenway, okay? And right now, we have not, the only portion that's common between the two is the boardwalk itself. That's the only portion that's common to both of them. So in the boardwalk, I don't feel it needs to be brand, blades. You don't have to blaze the boardwalk.
Unless you wanted to make it
So,
through,
what
you know.
we've already got we got one signage at Depot Road Park, Playground Park there, we have a signage there. And we're in the process of getting additional signage at the Route 1 end of it.
And are your signs colored
That's-
orange as well? No.
The white is a Tri-Town logo, this
Yeah,
logo.
that's, yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's the tri-town.
So the orange is, so it's a bit more visible in the voices. We can try to incorporate that into the logos, because it's 3 towns.
But that pathway is part of the tri-town trail, but it's also part of the crosstown greenway.
Right. In theory, but we don't feel that one section doesn't need to be blazed, and so we're not. too worried
Right,
about
but
it.
if.
But if I'd like to
it's
have
double
what we could do is, if we have and I'm working right now on the signage to talk about the crosstown and having an informational type of map that has both the crosstown as well as a tri-town trail. And we're developing that at the gazebo there on Route 1.
Was there any reason, since one goes right into the other, that it couldn't just be continuous? Keep the orange blades for both of them. Maybe that could be the greenway color.
That's,
Yeah,
I have no
right.
problem,
Yeah,
that's, well, we only, our main thing is origin. We don't mind if you want to use it for the crosstown, that's fine too.
So it could be tri-town and crosstown, could have the same.
It's the same color,
They
yeah.
overlap each
Yeah,
other.
they overlap each other, and that's fine.
someone may want to go all the way through.
And I don't know if Groton really doesn't have orange.
No, we don't have orange, so that doesn't throw anything else
And I
out.
don't think Avalonia's got oranges.
No, we don't have orange.
So
It doesn't have orange.
how big of an issue would it be if those sections of Avalonia property that are on the crosstown greenway I'm assuming they're blazed a color now, adding orange to that trail so that it signifies that trail is also part of the crosstown greenway. That be,
I would think that would be fine. I can check with the community center, but I don't see a problem with that.
okay,
Great.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the
That's
simplest solution
Yeah, it's a great solution.
from last side.
and that works for Gosa?
Yeah, that,
She's
I
talking
would
about
say so.
She's talking Gosa.
Yeah, and Janet's also a trail person.
And let me just say Janet and Bray are on the Groton Town Committee at Avalonia too, so
That works.
Like enough people here.
Right.
Director.
Okay.
Make a decision and
Use
it's done.
diamonds or just?
Hey, what can we help the diamonds with the black girls on.
Okay.
Just want to know I'm on the right trail, right?
People like that.
Well, it's also.
Yeah,
yeah.
Orange.
Yeah, it's smart.
Just say this is not a loop trail, and then another 15 miles back.
Keep it simple.
I've had that comment before, that consistency, you train your users to have a consistent system.
Yes.
They don't know what the properties are from one to the other. You just know
Right.
there's a trail, and they just know that you
They're
can
following
walk on
it,
the
right.
same.
There's blades up and
There's
one
places
down.
I walk, and they don't care where the property line is.
So one
you just
thing
don't
to
walk.
say is when they're the same color, it means that people aren't sure who they should report issues to. Tree down, somebody's hurt,
But there are.
They aren't sure, all right, that's 15 miles.
Well, it's not,
Right, you have trail, you have signs
trail.
ahead,
Yeah,
yeah, entrance to the property.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And everyone has cell phones on them.
Yeah, most of them
Yeah,
have.
or
You'd
just-
be surprised how many people I meet where they're like, I leave it at home just so I,
I don't want to get a phone call.
And then, And can I borrow yours? Cause I.
I don't mind twisting my ankle and laying on the ground.
Right.
It's all comes in.
I intercepted some gal looking for her car on BB Pond. She was headed for Canada. I mean, she just walking aimlessly.
A long ways.
Oh, there's lots, I mean,
Lots of
that's what she was.
Yeah.
Planning.
All right, well, that's great. No, I just, consistency.
So Barney, you'll check with,
I'm gonna check with, the stewardship committee.
Okay.
And say, just to confirm, I don't want to say, you know, to me, it makes sense, but I'll just get a confirmation, then I'll let you, Mark on that.
Okay. so
But
you're
it
gonna,
just becomes a lot of, information on the trees, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know how, I think everyone should be okay with it, but I'll check it out.
okay. So on some of those trails, there'd be two blazes, there'd be orange and then whatever Avalonia does kind of internally,
The legacy trails.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever,
this-
well, it's up to the organization to decide.
Right,
how they
right.
do it.
Okay. All right,
It's in two sections? Did you say two sections or that one section coming through to more woodlands from?
Well, you have.
But more woodlands,
You know, it goes more woodlands and then like Land's End.
right.
Townsend.
Okay.
Townsend.
Townsend. Okay,
Rhode Island has a north-south trail, it's always yellow.
Yep.
Right.
It's 80 miles or something, so it's
Yeah.
the same kind of thing.
Appalachian Trail is the same.
Yeah,
and
same,
they go,
yeah,
yeah,
same.
Consistent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's a big. We stay away from the blue. All
The blue area.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
CFA and thou shalt not fight or force.
It's the fastest blazing meeting I've ever.
See, this is how you.
This is the Berry administration, that's how we get things done.
I was just gonna say, this is a council meeting, somebody.
Hmm.
And are you getting on that subject, are we getting signage or any progress on I think you were sending out an RFP, the last I remember.
Oh, well, I think what Tom's doing, I'm getting the signage.
I'll give you where, I'm gonna try to come up with the, when we put the joint place together. And that sign, we'll have to come up with something for the cross.
So you'll have a template,
The template.
okay.
It's my, it's like, oh, we're taking the kind of initiative for the Tri-Town Trail side. Put that together.
And are we gonna have separate maps for each greenway or have a map that shows both?
Well, right now, I am focused on the Tri-Town Trail Greenway.
Okay.
They're two separate greenways, and so.
You have two separate.
Open space.
Well, okay, I'll start in and Jenna can jump in. We're still working on our new property, the Center Groton Preserve. Surveys are, there has not been an authoritative survey of that land since probably the 18th century. And our surveyor had to go to the vaults in Hartford and in town to read the handwritten notes. He's got most of it outlined, but the Phillips Avenue part where we're hoping to put in the, if it's feasible, a disabled trail or what would you say, accessible trail. We still don't know, haven't had all those issues resolved. There are some potential encroachments depending on, those things all have to be addressed. We have to find out what the facts are and then find out if we need to quit claim a section of a property to the neighbor or something. That has to be worked out. So we don't have official trails yet. There are existing trails. And as the survey is going, we're finding that some of the trails we were worried about being on a neighbor's property is actually right on the border between two properties. So there's less impact of us being on or having that trail on someone else's property. But, it's still a work in progress. So, and trail wise, I think our other trails are, we're just maintaining and, upgrading, and there was a work party up at Sheep Farm, not Sheep Farm, Kenilwood Ridge to open up where we've got the oak trees growing in, on the sand plain and on the ridge, big work party to open up, keep those trails open. Trees down, that kind of thing. You got anything else on
Well,
trails?
so actually, a couple of places, this last winter with the amazing amounts of water we've had. So there's been, water where there never was before, and then fog bridges sailing away. So we're looking at that as well, that there may need to be, a relocation of some and then putting in some others just to avoid the braiding and waiting, mess that happens when people don't want to get their boots wet. Boots are kids. And just because I've got the figures and it's kind of fun, and I'm gonna have to read a bit just because there's a lot of them. So GOSA hosted 15 school hikes this year. So this is with the Groton elementary schools. 22 buses transported 662 students, plus about 80 adults, teachers, and then parents and other staff. All 5 elementary schools participated. And actually, GOSA paid for 19 out of the 22 buses. Trying to make sure that this program stays in place. There are kids who, when asked, have never been out in the woods, and a couple of parents as well. And it just, so we're trying to make sure that it happens next year.
Is it the one? No, this is.
It's a separate relationship between the Board of Ed
And
GOSA.
GOSA,
Yeah.
it's
This is a
not,
huge success. Right?
it's been a blast, and just seeing the kids and seeing the teachers, it's having parents going with the kids and going, I never knew this was here.
I didn't know it was free.
Yeah, they know that's right.
Yeah, oh,
I led, 2 kindergartners, a second grade, and a 5th grade class. You just come away admiring the teachers
oh, yeah.
and the kids and the parents and the aides. All of them are like, "Wow, just great kids, they're interested in learning, they want to learn. I've had kindergartners that were talking about, is this a watershed? Because we just learned about watershed. Is this thing in the, you're like, wow, you're 5 years old. Like,
I was talking about the
Good.
stone wall and your ancestors, so kindergarten, what's an ancestor?
Yeah.
I said, well, your grandpa's grandpa and then grandpa and grandma going back and back. All of a sudden he's battling about dragons and dinosaurs, and then monkeys became man, and he did justice on, origins of species.
Yeah, it's been, I think, just rewarding on and just how many kids had not been in the woods. Parents have not been.
And just that, and boost for Avalonia, for, Des and Theo, all, just everything. The GIS, trail.
Yeah, Noah's been wonderful.
Noah has been
She's
wonderful.
always willing to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's letting folks know how to find these places. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that is going to continue this summer. This goes
With Parks
the
and
day
Rec.
camp.
Yeah.
And this will be third,
I believe that the
fourth
rest.
year. Yeah,
Or four.
and
Yeah, it's
third
been
and
good
fourth.
for a
year, I
while,
think.
yeah.
And it's like one of the most popular activities.
Well, because in the summer, you can go ahead and get in the brooks and
Get
you'll
wet.
get,
Oh,
Yeah.
mess around, get
Yeah.
muddy.
Takes little kids a long time to get the shoes back on. Just don't take the shoes off.
You're gonna get wet anyway.
They're gonna get wet, but, well, you just don't take them. Or it's necessarily the school trip, have to take the shoes off. Parks and Rec, probably have time. It's been great. That's not fun to do.
All right, town trails, so the town, hopefully at this point, everybody knows that the town is updating the bike and pedestrian master plan. We're doing a complete streets project. There's survey available now, hopefully all have filled it out.
Can I make a comment about the survey? So there's a section in the survey where you have to sort. There's two sections in the survey.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have to sort. It's so confusing
Uh,
and difficult
Yeah.
to do it.
Okay,
I'll tell you, I just gave up. I was fine all the way down, and then it gets to this point where you're trying to sort them in ranking order.
And things disappear and
And
then.
you just like, I
Oh, okay.
don't need this.
Yeah.
And so I would recommend is just either shorten it up to like be 3 things or don't put them in, or
right,
like it's fine, but you hit that point, it's sort of near the end,
okay.
and you're just like. It's just too hard on it. It just, things just don't,
Sure.
there's too many of them. You're trying to remember because they go below the screen. You're like,
Okay.
what was this? And you can't, like, if there was 6 things put in order, you could see all 6 and you can shuffle them.
Right.
Think of 15
Yeah.
on them. It's just too many.
Yeah, and I'm a non-technical person, and I think I had an issue with even logging in. I think I gave up. I don't know if it wanted to use, I have a Google account that I use rarely for like Zoom or team calls.
Yeah.
But I couldn't just click it on from my email and go straight to the survey. It wanted me, I would have to like switch to my other email in order to use the Google. And I couldn't get there.
And
Or it got too hard, I just like.
I couldn't find it in the Greater Groton website. I looked through there trying to find it. I think I just did it by phone. So I ended up doing it, which is why it's so difficult to find those things
I
around.
think I got on, I think I did it through Facebook, question mark. But yeah, it's still the sliding the thingies around.
It's just too many of them. Like,
Okay.
I think that's the problem.
All right.
You know.
So the good news is there's a couple of versions of the survey, so there's this confusing one. And then we also created a 1-page, 2-sided survey. Like, so tonight when I leave here, I'm going down to a concert and I'm gonna try to get people to fill out the
I'll
1-page,
take
2-sided.
PDF. I'll take analog any day, just hand me the survey, right?
I don't have them with me, they're down at the concert, but
Yeah.
we are trying, so tomorrow we're going this to kick off for the summer reading at the library. So Clayton and I are going to that. And we'll be handing out these 1-page surveys to try to get people to fill them out on site. We'll be doing them at the concerts. And the survey part of this whole project is wrapping up. But they're now getting into focus group meetings, and I don't know if any of you received. I know Tabitha did. So, and I think the one that Tabitha signed up for is Parks and Open Space. So you guys would all be perfect to be on that focus group. When is it? You know? So if I shared, it's FHI Studio out of.
Oh, I
out
did
of
get,
Hartford.
yes, I did. Get, so actually Dan O'Connell was approached.
Yeah, he's not available.
He's not, well, actually, he turfed it to me. I
Okay,
responded by email.
okay,
When you said the FHI, I put it together.
Yeah.
So I've been in touch with them. They were going to get back to me and I've heard nothing.
all right.
So if it's been scheduled, I gave them my times, maybe they scheduled it and I'm not available.
Okay. All right, because I know, I saw Tabitha's name on the list, and there was one other. And they were asking for folks that could be part of this focus group. And this particular focus group is on parks and open space. Okay, so,
What day, time?
yeah, so that's what
right
I'm going to try to. yeah.
So is there a web address outside of the phone one for that survey?
I had no problem getting Greater Groton.
June 27th.
It's complete street master plan to view the project and then slide down the survey.
So this is the Greater Groton, when you come up to Greater Groton, there's a master plan thing, and when you slide down to this, and the survey's like, it's down a little bit. So maybe it's the name.
Maybe people don't know.
Maybe it's
survey.
this, it says complete streets. Yeah. It's the wrong, it's complete streets, trails. It doesn't say bike.
Doesn't say and survey.
It doesn't say also, it say bike and trail survey.
Well, this is what it's for.
Right.
So-
Right, but you almost need a separate title to say.
Name,
bikes
probably,
and trails
that's probably
survey.
why I couldn't find it. It says complete streets, and this is bike and.
Yeah, a master plan, so it sounds like you're gonna open a big document, not answer a survey. Yeah,
So does it say on the project?
right, but it's
So-
it's misleading. People go by the title in their.
Bike and pedestrian master.
Yeah, so that's, the label of that post is complete streets.
Complete streets and trails master plan.
Right, but it doesn't
It
say
doesn't say bike and.
bike and trail survey or
If
something
you're
like
looking for
that,
bike and
right?
trail survey, it doesn't say bike and trail survey.
While we're on that, just.
Take our survey, yeah, but you have to get into it or down to the bottom.
Downtown Mystic, you give up the bridge if you want, but drive and think about what it's like to be on a bike. You've got a 9-inch, verge at the edge. Now you've got a walker coming at you because you're in the car, you're being a car, and the walker is supposed to walk toward traffic. Who's got the right of way in that 9 inches?
Yeah.
And because some of these are just nothing. And they've got, a guardrail right next to it, or rocks or something like that, there's just no place.
Well, that's what we're trying to address.
That's what DOT was saying. Put a Cheryl on it, and you're all set.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
And there will be, after the focus groups, there will be, they're calling it a public workshop, where they're going to take all the information that they collected from the surveys, focus groups, and put out some big maps and kind of show and invite the public in and kind of explain to them the different maps. And then there'll be an opportunity for folks to go to the workshop to add to that information that they've already collected from the surveys and from the focus group meetings. And again, it's the whole design, the whole idea is to try to come up with projects that we can do to improve the connectivity, which is one of the highest rated needs out of the recreation master. So as of a couple of weeks ago, we'd already had 250 people complete the survey. FHI would like to see us at 500, so hopefully.
Well,
that helps.
use another one of those, I can.
Personal is free.
I could shoot up and I put my coffee cup on it.
I get it, yeah.
All right, so
Yeah, let me have this.
I'm just saying I can hold it up on Tuesday. Then go to the Greater Groton site.
Oh, yeah.
So they go, slide down the survey. Slide down the survey, it's in the
project area, for that project.
okay. That's what
That does get to
Yeah, no, it's just that the name was what I was looking for, so. I can say what the name is.
So will this code take me right to the survey?
Well, check it out.
And the other question I had was, why are there two codes?
Oh, one's to go directly to the survey, hopefully.
Right.
Right.
Well, the first
And the
one,
other
the
one
one on the left
just
is go to the
takes
survey.
you-
Takes it straight to the survey.
Way to drive.
Because I haven't taken this.
Okay.
It's a cheat.
Okay.
There you go, got it.
I didn't want to slap.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing we ever created. I think it's on.
It's okay if the under hits the older, so the senior can't keep the. So this is
It'd be nice to see.
survey, new one, project.
Backing us around.
Huh. All right.
And they don't both work. I just checked.
That's good.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
we did have a check, we did check on it.
They're still working, let's put that
Oh,
one.
good. The lake hasn't been-
So when does
Yeah,
that
when you
survey
cover-
shut down?
Within the next couple of weeks.
So it's in the complete streets.
Yes.
Because I'll,
Yeah, it's been open for about a month now.
It has.
yeah,
Yeah.
And we keep pushing it out on social
I
media.
could do it.
Interesting, 1 week. And we went back and we couldn't figure out why, but in 1 week, we had 75 people do the survey. And normally it's 15 or so people.
That might have been the Esme Butler neighborhood group because trash cans were put in the park and,
Oh,
Yeah, and- yeah.
right, yeah.
and then we were asked to do the survey, so everyone filed on and did
Yeah.
the survey.
Yeah,
Well, everyone got
instead of giving out money, I'm giving out trash.
Trash
cans.
cans.
It's amazing what people.
Well, everything's switching. The new trash can company, new trash pickup comes in.
July 1st,
July 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a switch going between the
Oh,
two.
Mystic Card, there's an ad in the paper every day.
Yep.
oh, okay.
We've got, all these trash cans and no place to put them, so everyone's kind of like.
They've dropped off the new ones, but the old company has to come.
Well, no, it's not,
They
no,
still
they're
have
not
it.
picking them up. I mean, Little Magic or whoever is
It
old.
was really wasted, now CP.
Yeah, and so they're swapping them, so you've got 2 sets right now.
Yep.
Sets
And you have to use the correct ones because the other company
Won't
won't.
pick the other guys up.
Oh, because they don't fit the truck.
Nobody has room for these in the garage, for 2 sets. in the garage. You got them literally in the
I
street.
just hope they take it away because I don't want to have extra trash.
All right,
All right, Tri-Town.
Tri-Town Trails.
On the other side.
Okay, as far as for the Tri-Town Trail right now, we have a recreational trails grant for up in Ledger for continuing. We had 3 alternatives. The first 2 have been taken off the table because the private property owners refused to deal with the town of Ledger. So we made up a third option to the west side, working with the Hagan family, and then also this would tie in with Apollonia's property that they're getting to try to get an OSMA grant for on the Rowley property.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I meant, yeah.
Right, and that's all tied together for the rerouting to continue where the trail ends currently, and to get us to 215. And then also but that requires a more interface with Broad Utilities. So we're gonna waiting to see where the grant comes in. Hopefully they'll announce within the next week or so. And then we'll hopefully hear back from the families in regard positively with the easements, and then hopefully we'll have be able to move forward. We're kind of against because the trails grant expires on the 30th of this month, or they're in the process of asking for an extension for the utilization of the funds because of the ongoing discussions and the changes that had to be implemented. Plus, they've had changes over the course of the grant with 3 different town planners up in Ledyard and stuff. So the administration of the grant has been slow also. So,
Did you say the name of the property was Raleigh?
Rowley, R-O-W-L-E-Y. That's the one that goes in. I mean, Avalon has an application in with the OSMA people that's pending approval. That's all contingent. There's a lot of contingencies on this. And as far as, and I already talked about the actions of what we've been doing with the Greenwood signage down here in Groton.
New business. Next meeting is September.
I'll be out of the country.
Now, one thing before here, as far as logoing and branding of going back to Joe's question, I didn't really, I think I kind of got slushed on the table here. For the Groton Crosstown Greenway, is there any kind of, do you want us to, with the Tri-Town Trail to kind of provide a recommendation for this?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yes.
Get that going.
You want something similar to what you have, but with maybe like an XT or something like that? Yeah, and we don't have it is there, does the Crosstown have a logo at all?
No, all you
No,
have
it's
is,
never-
you have the Groton.
Not trip.
Groton trails.
Trails.
Yeah, that will be fine.
Right, but that's for all Groton.
Right.
That could be incorporated in the process.
Yeah, or just a simple XT. XT is kind of pretty obvious. You can figure out, where's the crosstown tail? If you see something that says XT. It's pretty,
Well, I'll come up with something.
come up with something,
Something
okay,
that's
yeah.
For approval and stuff.
Well, we'd like to see 3 different versions.
Right.
And then. there'll be-
One black and white.
and then
Or-
2 rounds of-
One light and dark.
Different palettes, so-
You were kind of, it was kind of a big switch, you know, you got the color, you got the blaze thing done. It's not, it's a false hope. It's a logo.
I like,
Yeah, we don't want the blaze.
I like orange and white, either way, white with orange print or orange, orange with white print. Cause that would fit with the blazers.
That's
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll work on it.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Yeah, he's a graphic designer.
I know.
Yeah. So Tom, yeah, so
I'm
I.
not, I haven't thrown about the bus, she did. I don't know.
Tom's gonna work with you.
I did your version, I did the.
Yes, it's worked with the tri-top trail. We'll have something for it.
Have you seen this work?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, Spork is posted if, on all the signage at Bluff Point was all Bruce.
Oh, my son.
Yeah.
I did all the signs, I did the brochures.
Yeah.
He did our fundraising sign for Sheep Farm South, with the one with the big thermometer.
That's all Bruce.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah.
That was my career, this is what I did.
Yeah.
My career.
Great
Yeah,
job.
I did a lot of law firms, hospitals, nonprofits. A lot of the Boston hospitals.
Yeah.
Did these huge wall murals inside the hospitals, like Mass General.
He didn't do this part. We had that.
We had that already.
No, it was great. Yeah, we already had that done. That was not a different. Artist, but that was done. We had to kind of spread the wealth between the different towns.
Yeah, it was fun.
Crosstown Trail.
All right.
We'll work on that. The deadline now.
Yeah. September 18th.
Maybe a little more narrow direction.
I got great direction. I can deal with this stuff.
Okay.
All right. So if there's nothing else, could I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Discussion.
We have to vote on it, we never have.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right. We'll see you.
Have a great summer, everyone.
Everybody have a great summer.
That was a very nice report. No, that was great with the numbers.
I know, those are.
That's amazing. Yeah. That, stuff that was done.